The transformation begins by gutting the interior to make room for modern steel. A micro-excavator handles the heavy lifting, stripping the ground floor back to bare earth. Temporary supports carry the load while hydraulic lifts maneuver a massive custom steel beam into the fractured masonry. Blue spray paint marks the final interior walls slated for demolition. With the roof dismantled, the interior teardown accelerates. A heavy jackhammer makes quick work of the remaining brickwork. Clearing these internal load-bearing walls is critical, clearing the path for the massive structural framework that will soon carry the entire upper floor. The new framework is anchored using heavy-duty steel connection plates. These oversized bolts must be tightened to a specific torque setting, ensuring the shear strength of the joint won't fail under shifting loads. This single junction clamps the horizontal span to the vertical support, locking the skeleton of the house together. It is a precise engineering phase where fractions of a millimeter matter. Once these nuts are driven home, the structural integrity of the entire extension is guaranteed. Once the slab cures and the exterior blockwork rises, interior framing begins. Using a laser level ensures the new timber studs sit perfectly plumb. Any slight deviation at the base would amplify as the wall goes up, causing serious issues when it is time to install plasterboard and skirting. The wooden skeleton divides the open expanse into functional rooms. Overhead, the roof structure takes shape. A cordless framing nailer rapidly secures the rafters, driving heavy-gauge steel deep into the timber. This tool drastically reduces fatigue while providing a consistent driving force, creating rigid joints that will resist high winds and heavy snow loads. The overlapping framing locks together, turning individual pieces of timber into a unified, load-bearing canopy. With the rear extension sealed, work pivots to the original roofline. Stripping back the aged roof tiles exposes the weathered battens and rafters beneath. The goal here is a seamless integration, tying the new structural additions directly into the existing framework. Fresh mortar beds are laid to support the updated timber framing. Every new vertical post is checked with a spirit level. A perfectly plumb structure transfers, roof loads straight down into the foundations. If the framing leans even slightly, it introduces off-center stresses that can warp the walls over time. The old and the new are systematically bolted together. This thermal barrier prepares the ground for a modern underfloor heating system. Hundreds of meters of flexible white piping snake across the floor in a precise serpentine pattern. The even spacing ensures there are no cold spots in the final room. By circulating warm water through these loops, the entire floor surface will eventually act as a giant, highly efficient radiator. After the liquid screed sets, heavy fixtures can safely enter the house. Maneuvering this massive steel fireplace insert requires careful coordination. The sheer weight of the cast metal demands a slow, steady approach to avoid damaging the freshly leveled floor. This central feature will anchor the main living space, providing both ambient heat and a striking visual focal point for the room. Before closing the overhead void, thermal efficiency is prioritized. Foil-faced rigid insulation is wedged tightly between the timber ceiling joists. The metallic surface reflects radiant heat back into the living space, while the foam core traps warm air, dramatically lowering the home's future energy demands. Down below, the fireplace takes its final position. With the insulation secured, the crew begins the heavy task of maneuvering large sheets of plasterboard into place. Covering the bare framing immediately changes the acoustics of the house, deadening the harsh echoes of the building site and defining the true volume of the rooms. With the boarding complete, it is time for the wet trades. Metal corner beads provide sharp, impact-resistant edges before the plaster is mixed. Applying the top coat of plaster requires continuous momentum. The wet mix must be troweled smoothly across the ceiling before it begins to cure. Working around complex angles, like the skylight openings, demands a highly practiced wrist, blending the fresh material flawlessly into the surrounding flat planes. As the plaster sets, it transforms the fragmented seams of the plasterboard into a monolithic, airtight shell, sealing the underlying structure away for good. A heavy-duty crane delivers pallets of flexible tile adhesive directly to the door. Inside, meticulous preparation begins, dropping spacers to establish a perfect, unmoving grid before a single tile is permanently bedded. The tiling advances into the narrow utility corridors. Precision cutting is required to fit the rigid ceramic pieces around the complex door frames and corners. A high-quality, flexible adhesive allows the large format tiles to withstand the subtle seasonal expansions of the heated subfloor beneath them without cracking or popping loose. outside, the final protective layers are applied to the facade. The tongue and groove timber cladding has been exposed to the shifting weather, causing the natural wood fibers to swell with moisture. Forcing these swollen joints together requires physical persuasion and absolute patience. Each timber board is cut to length on the miter saw, then hammered firmly into place over the moisture-resistant breather membrane. This air gap behind the wood is critical. It allows trapped condensation to escape, preventing rot from taking hold within the hidden framing. The warm tones of the timber instantly soften the harsh structural lines of the modern extension. Even through the dense morning fog, the vertical grain draws the eye upward, unifying the exterior profile. This organic skin is the final barrier against the elements, turning the waterproofed shell into a finished architectural form. With the exterior secure, the interior fit-out reaches its most complex phase. The arrival of the kitchen cabinetry fills the space with an overwhelming maze of cardboard. Assembling a high-end kitchen is an exercise in microscopic tolerances. A single cabinet sitting off-level will throw the entire countertop out of alignment. The carpenters rely on spirit levels and set squares to ensure the internal drawer runners are seated flawlessly. If a track is driven even a fraction of a degree off parallel, the heavy soft-close drawers will bind and drag. To achieve a custom, built-in aesthetic, oversized finishing panels are trimmed down using a precision track saw. The saw's guided rail guarantees a perfectly straight, splinter-free cut across the delicate painted finish. Metal mounting rails are then anchored directly into the structural wall framing. These brackets must carry immense shear weight once the cabinets are fully loaded with heavy ceramics and glassware. What began as a fractured, gutted shell has been meticulously rebuilt from the foundations up. Every hidden piece of steel, every poured trench, and every perfectly aligned stud now operates as a single, enduring system. The contrast between the raw demolition and the pristine, light-filled living space proves the immense effort was justified. The structure has been fully revived, ready to weather the next generation.